Hey guys, it's Brittany. So, today's gonna be a popcorn chat video, and today I'll be discussing on the movie Signs. And it was released in theaters on August 2nd, 2002, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and starring Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, along with Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin. So, this is what the movie's about in case if you have not seen Signs. Um, it is a little for. I'm sorry, let me do that again. A widowed former reverend living with his children and brother on a Pennsylvania farm finds mysterious crop circles in their fields, which suggests something more frightening to come. So, I have seen this movie um, before more than once. Although, um, now because it came out in 2002, I believe I was 10 at the time, I believe. Let me check real quick here on that. I believe so. Yeah, so I was 10 at the time, and I would have been 11 in November. So I'm just glad I didn't see this movie when I was 10 because it would have scared the wits out of me. It would have terrified me because of the alien. Whew. Um, yeah, definitely. So, and the thing is, though, okay, so, yeah, Mel Gibson, he plays a widowed former reverend, and he lost his wife, and it was an accident, um, when that happened, because there's, like, flashbacks of that scene. I think there's, like, a few flashbacks to that scene, but when you really see the flashback, um, to where he has his last time, his last moments with her to talk to her, you see that more towards the end. And if you haven't seen Signs, I don't want to spoil anything because this will have spoilers. So if you don't want anything to be spoiled and you want to see it for yourself without any spoilers, then you can click off and save yourself from the spoilers. But I'll just wait. Are we good? Is everything good now? Okay, so for those who have seen Signs, I think it's actually a really good movie. It's actually a good movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and I think, oh, that reminds me, I do believe this was the first movie I've seen that he directed, because I can't remember if I've seen The Sixth Sense before Signs. I'm not sure. I don't think so. So I think Signs was the first M. Night Shyamalan movie that I've seen before The Sixth Sense and before The Village. So yeah, this was. And when I did watch it at the time, for the first time, I was 13. So at least, I think 13 is a good age to watch the movie and not 10. And so, yeah, so with this story, it's just, like I said, Mel Gibson plays this widowed reverend, and he lives on the farm with his children and his brother, and I don't know how long it's been since the accident when he lost his wife. I might have to look that up. Does it even show? Let me look on that. I'm losing my voice and I don't know why. It could be because knowing that how there are certain parts of the movie that really like unnerve me and I just get really unsettled with. It could be that because that's what happens though, like when I get, either when I get really stressed or when I get really scared, I tend to lose my voice. So it could be that, but then again, I'm not even talking about those parts yet. I'm just talking about what the movie's about before I get into the rest of the movie. What was I gonna look up again? Oh, right, how long it's been. Oh, okay, it shows it here because it doesn't show in the movie because, um, yeah, in the movie, you know how there are just some movies where it says how much, like, how much time has gone by and how long it's been. Sometimes it'll say like weeks have went by or months went by or years. So I just want to see because it shows it right here. Okay. Okay, so okay, let me just read this here. Okay, Graham's wife, Colleen, died in a traffic accident 6 months earlier. Graham abandoned the church in the aftermath of the incident because yeah, after he lost his wife in the accident, um, he lost his faith, and so yeah, he had lost his faith, and yeah, he abandoned the church, and uh, you know, it was. I think that altogether that was devastating because I think deep down he felt like that that God took her away from him, but it was not that. It was not that. And I know some people might feel that way when it comes to losing a loved one, but it is not at all that. It is not. Oh, actually, that's right. It had been 6 months because now when I really think about it, there's a scene in the movie where when he goes to the pharmacy to pick up his son's medication, and the girl that works there, she still calls him father, and she's like telling him something, telling about her problems, and telling she's telling him how she's feeling because of what she overheard about someone talking about the end of the world. And so she's emotional and she's seeking out advice and hoping that he can give her advice. But yeah, that's right, because when she tells him this, he tells her that he's not a reverend anymore and that he hasn't been for 6 months. That's right. So it was mentioned. So even though it may not show it in letters, like how sometimes movies show that, where it says weeks later, or how many weeks later, how many months later, or how many years. But yeah, so 6 months. I don't know, somehow to me it just felt like a year. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I think with the atmosphere feeling quite like gloom and just very sad and also very serious. I don't know, to me it just seemed like that even the way like how he's still handling it and how he's still grieving for his wife, to me it just seemed like that it hadn't been 6 months. It doesn't feel like that for some reason. It just seems like it's longer, like a year. I don't know, that's just what it kind of feels like almost, even though it's not. But okay, now it's starting to get a little too cold. At first the air felt really nice, but now it's getting a little too cold. And so yes, and his brother Merrill, played by Joaquin Phoenix, he is a minor um, baseball league and well, a minor baseball player. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to correct myself on that part. So sorry. Okay, so yeah, he's actually helping his brother, to raise his kids. So he's like helping his brother, and he's helping his niece and nephew, and so yeah, from what I can see, of course, everything is just very serious, quite gloom, and just I just feel like there's so much like sad energy, you know, with the characters. Like I would say a lot from Graham because of who he had lost, of losing his wife was just I can't imagine how heartbreaking and devastating that is, to lose a loved one. And so yeah, I don't know, I just feel like there's this like I said, very like there's serious but very sad energy with his character, and even with his brother as well. And I think it's just tearing him apart to see his brother, um seeing him, like seeing him just so serious, but serious in a way where he's just so sad. And I think that just makes him sad to see his brother, see to see his brother, uh, to see him so sad, And of course, even the kids, they're sad too, you know. Whew. So sorry about that. I had to sneeze, so I did not want to sneeze uh, on camera. So sorry about that. So yes, even the kids, Bo and Morgan, they're also, they're still grieving too, because they also are just like, I can tell they're just very quiet and just sad, and it just seems like they don't know what to do or say, as they're still grieving for the loss of their mother. And it's just so sad. And of course I feel bad for these characters of what they're going through, and even going through the grieving of the loss of a loved one that they're going through. And it's just, of course, quite sad to see. But of course we see how they're they're still like living their life, but it seems like they're just going by each day as where it's just quiet, serious, and sad. But then, of course, things start to take a different turn. Okay. So, yeah, one day, like I said, something unexpected happens, and what happens is that all of a sudden there are these, because this happens right at the beginning where we hear Bo screaming, and then it turns out as Graham and Meryl ran into the cornfield, um, um, and as they walk further into the cornfield, that they see this big giant circle. So of course they have crop circles, and sorry about that. So yeah, they can explain it, and so they think that someone could have done this to their um to the cornfield, to their crops. But yeah, it just looks like, how can really someone do that? I mean, I don't know, but so of course, as he calls the police station, an officer comes by, and so she takes a look at it, and she thinks that someone could have, done this, um, and he thinks, I don't know, someone could have done this. It could have been something else, and so. But anyway, I don't want to give out each detail of the whole movie here, but yes, that's where things start to take a different turn because of these crop circles, um, in their in the cornfield, and this is where things start to change. But of course, we still sense the seriousness and just the sadness of the characters because of the grieving that they're still going through, even with this happening. And so yeah, of course, that there was a night where, okay, and this is scary because there was a night where, of course, not I think not too long ago within the movie. So I think this was the night after, and so Bo couldn't sleep, so um, Graham was waking up, and so she was asking for a glass of water, but then as he goes to her room to talk to her, that they talk for a little bit. So they talk about his wife, her mother, and so as the conversation ended, he looks out the window of the bedroom, and he sees this tall figure that's standing on the roof, um, that's on the other side of the house, because I think there's another small house on the other side. So the alien was standing on the roof, uh, on the roof, and it's looking like it's just standing there and watching them. Oh my gosh. And that is just so scary. That is very startling. So I remember even seeing that the first time, I that just made me jump, and I remember I was just like so scared, like, oh my gosh, and I just couldn't believe it. So it's like we see at least a little bit of it, but of course we don't see that much of it because it's from afar, but we see it standing on the roof, and that itself is scary. So who knows how long that was there, just watching them, like, and why was it watching them? Was it to hear the conversation, or was it to observe of how they're living, of their living situation, of the house they're living in and their farm? Like, I don't know, but it did seem like they were observing them. So oof, that is so unnerving. And yeah, that is a scary part in itself. And of course, as this happens, he wakes up his brother and he tells him that, what was it, Lionel Pritchard and the Wolverine brothers are back? Something like that. He, if I got it right or wrong, let me know. But that's what he tells him. And then so he gets up and they're like, okay, maybe we should just go out there and try to scare them off. So they do. But as they're running, they both go in different directions and they're like, uh, they're, they're saying something to at least try to scare them off. But of course, we see this shadow going by. But this shadow, as it runs by, it doesn't look human. It looks like it's something else completely. And so at this point, they don't know who it was. So they think there's just someone out there. But then we hear that something jumps on the roof of the house and it's watching them, is observing them. So, and of course we don't see it, but we just see we just see an angle where we see Meryl where he's walking because he's moving along how the alien's moving because he can't really see it. So I think he's trying to look at what it could be, but he can't see what it is or who it is. And of course, the alien, from being on the roof, jumps into the cornfield so it can jump really high. And of course, it takes off. Yeah, that itself is unnerving, and like I said, so as and what's funny though is that as they're describing what happened, she's telling them, so it was very dark, and they're like, yes, it was. Not that part I think is a little funny because they're just like saying, yeah, it was, but. I did have a dream though, or this scene was just a little humorous. And if you want to see that, I will put it up here in the iCard where you can watch it. But yes. So overall, is that while, like I said, this is happening, it's just things this changes for them. So of course, even when they go out for a day and trying to get back to normal, but it's like somehow it might seem a little normal, or they're trying to, but somehow maybe it just doesn't quite feel like it for them because of what they're going through, what they're feeling. But then of course, with what they're experiencing with the baby monitor, is just, oh, that is terrifying. And of course, so like I said, with this going on, it's just, and what they're going through because of this, it just makes it just very scary and just like I said, just unnerving and just unsettling. And so, okay, I'm trying to think, but I would say the part that's really unsettling is the part where Meryl's in the closet, and he had, where he's asleep, but then he wakes up to the TV, and he's watching the news, and then there's this footage of it, and then he gets closer to the TV, and it shows this footage where there's a birthday party, and of course we see how the camera is, but then At first, we don't see anything, but it looks like something is blending in, and it walks out, and the way it walks out, that is frightening. And of course, we can see that when this happens, Meryl got startled and he literally just like backed away. He's covering his mouth with his hand and he's like in shock and just so terrified by this. And of course, as they rewind it and pause it where you can really see it, he just has this shocked, terrified look on his face. And I don't blame him because I felt the exact same way when that happened. As soon as that part happened and walked out, I literally just jumped and I was just so scared and my heart was racing. So I felt what he felt, how terrified he was and how he got so startled by that. So I felt that. And I'm pretty sure we all did. I'm pretty sure for those who got really terrified and startled when that happened, I'm pretty sure we felt the exact same way that he felt in that moment. So, oh my gosh. Honestly, I would say that Alien from Science also um, traumatized me. Like, oh my gosh, it's just it's it's horrifying. And then of course after this happened, then um, Graham goes to see um, who was it? He goes to see oh, what was his name again? Okay, so he goes to see Ray, and Ray was a vet. But what happened was that when he had called him earlier in the movie, we can hear that something was going on, and all of a sudden he hangs up. But then after that part of what it showed of on news about this alien, then that's where he goes to see him. They talk for a little bit, but then I think he tells him what happened because he fell asleep at the wheel when he had crushed. Well, wait, when he ran into his wife, and she was pinned between his truck and a tree, and so that's just horrible. And so of course, he apologized for what happened, and he even apologized that he had questioned his faith, and so we can see that he's holding back his tears, and so he even tells him not to open the door to the pen. I think not to open the door because he locked it up in the pantry. And so, but it's kind of funny in a way when he goes into the house and he sees that it is locked up in the pantry, and we can see this shadow like pacing back and forth, and then he says hello, and then he tries to talk to it, and he says that the police are here. But what's really funny is when he says to it, we took some of your friends downtown in a paddy wagon, and then he's like like he's thinking, why did I say that? Like okay, that itself was funny. So that was a little funny moment, him talking to it and saying that. But then, of course, even after he's talking to it, there's no response. And of course, I don't think that the alien can understand uh, the English language. Now, whether they can understand it or not, I don't think it would want to speak. And I don't think this is the type of alien to speak back, in a language, um, like in any language at all, because the only language it can speak in is its own language. So, and so yeah, after his experience with the alien in the pantry when he had grabbed the knife and chopped two of its fingers, um, that was scary too. And oh, but yeah, I just gotta say, yeah, there are some scenes in here that are quite scary, and I think what's a little bit more terrifying is the ending where they're all facing it, where it's right there in the living room, and they're all just standing still, completely like frozen in fear. And I would be too. No doubt about it. Oh my gosh. And, but even as they're like completely still, as frightened as they are, as and terrified, that then he has this flashback where he was talking to his wife, and he still remembers of what it was she said, because she told him, um, that to tell Morgan, her son, that to play games, it's okay to be silly, and that for Bo to listen to her brother, and that he'll always take care of her. And then she says to tell Graham, to see, tell him to see, and then to tell Meryl, her brother-in-law, to swing away. And so when is really looking back on it and really remembering this flashback, because he still remembers very clearly, not only what happened that day, but the what she had said to him, um, and because of that was a sign. That itself was a message to him. So I think the see part, I think it was more like for him to really see, to open his eyes and to really see. And I believe that's what it meant. And of course, for Meryl to swing away, that was a message itself, because that there is going to be a time where something was going to happen where Meryl would have to swing away. So it had to happen within that moment, because it was that moment for it to happen. So of course, after we see this flashback of what he remembers, and the flashback of what he of this conversation he had with his brother a little earlier in the movie about coincidences and signs, and him saying, is it possible that there are no coincidences? And so after that, then of course he looks to where there's this baseball bat, next to Meryl, because that was his baseball bat, because he was a minor baseball player. And so, well, a minor league baseball player. And so, and that's when it was in that moment, that it was that moment that has to happen. So that's why he told him to swing away. So at first, when he turns his head and looks at him, at first we see he has this look, and then he starts to realize, and then he did what he had to do, and that was to hit that alien and to really take that bat and swing it and hit it hard with it. So that's what it meant. It was that moment. But yes, like I said, there are certain scenes that are just quite scary, and each one is just a little bit more scary. But this one at the end is just, oof, just terrifying. And but yes, I will say this: it is a really good story, although it's quite serious and quite sad. But it also has its scary moments because of the alien. No doubt about it. And I enjoy the performances of the cast. You know, they're great. Of Mel Gibson, he did a great job, and Joaquin Phoenix, and even with Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin, they all did a great job with their performances. Just so convincing, and you just really feel for the characters, and you feel for them, and you feel for the situation that they're going through, of not only the grieving of who they lost, but also what they're going through in this terrifying outcome of this unexpected turn on events, of this alien situation going on, which is quite terrifying. So of course we feel for them of what they're going through, and of course we can feel the intensity and the unsettling, terrifying moments because of the alien situation going on, and how unnerving that feels. So yeah, and like I said, overall this is just a really good movie with the story, the performances, and the music. Even the music by James Newton Howard, he did a great job with the music. It just really made the movie. You know, it just really made it feel what we needed to feel of those moments. And you know, even the scary, unsettling parts, you know, because of the alien and everything. But yes, the music is great, and the location setting is great, even with the costume designs, and even with the, I would say with the alien design, it's so very terrifying, so unsettling. And honestly, I would say it's quite traumatizing too. But no doubt about it. And this is why, like I said, overall, this is a good movie. Everything about it is great. But even though I do like watching this movie, I do not watch it often. But when I do, it's only when I do want to watch it. But the only thing is, I used to watch it at night, but now I don't anymore. Only because at night it makes it feel even more um, terrifying and even more unsettling. Where if you watch it at night, it makes you feel like, okay, I don't want to go to sleep. Not after this. And so that's how I feel with this, where I don't want to watch this at night because it'll be so hard for me to go to sleep, and it would feel like it's impossible to even to try to go to sleep if I could, because it's like, no, I can't, because I just watched this not too long ago. So no. So when I do watch it, when I do watch Signs, it's only like once in a while, and it's only when, like, during the day. So if I watch it, let's say around like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., or yeah, I would say around there is fine. But if it's like any later, where it starts to get really dark outside, if it's like 8, 9, 10, even close to 11 p.m., oh no, no, hell no. No way. But it is a good movie. But like I said, I do like everything about Signs. Uh, I, I like the story, even though it's quite serious and sad, and it has those frightening, those unsettling moments because of the alien. And I like the cast, their performances, the music, the even the costume designs, and even the music score. It's just also really scary to hear, but it's just good as well. So James Newton Howard did an amazing job with the music because he just made it very unnerving, but scary too. So it's like, oh, and you feel that. And yes, like I said, I like everything that went into this movie that just made it come alive and just made it feel this um uh like I said, seriousness of it, but also the sadness of it, but also the most frightening parts of it. So yes, it is a good movie, and I do like it, and it's just a good movie to watch. So um yeah, I do recommend it. And yeah, like I said, it's just a good movie to watch, especially if you want a good scare, then yes. And as I do know, it's like, it's, I do know with this movie, it's like kind of like a slow burner, but I'm okay with that. And this one, of course, is just a very different type of alien movie because it's nothing like the movie Alien. It's not sci-fi, you know, like that. But this is just so different, and I think that's what makes it so terrifying because it's just different from the other ones, like different from Men in Black, Independence Day, and it's just different. It's so different from that. And yes, even like I said, for those who even did, and yes, even directed by M. Night Shyamalan, he did also a really great job with this movie. I think that he wrote the story, produced it, and directed it. He did a really good job on it. He really did because it was just terrifying. And even the alien design, like I said, that is terrifying itself, and it's traumatizing. It really is. Ooh. Um, I'm not sure what else to say, but yes, overall, I do like the movie and everything about it that just made it come alive and just made it feel very realistic and just made it feel, like I said, like the seriousness of it, the sadness, and the most terrifying, unsettling parts because of the alien. So yeah, that is it for this popcorn chat video. I know this one is probably a little longer than the other ones, so hope you don't mind of that. But um because I would say it's been a while since I've seen it, I would say I will do a reaction video of it. I would say, what, sometime next week? Yeah, so next week I'm gonna do a reaction video to it, and I won't say what scene, but I have a scene in mind that I will react to it. So you'll see that. You will. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this popcorn chat video on Signs, and if you like the movie Signs, give this video a like, and for more movie content, reactions, dreams, and the paranormal, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.